Give me this one. I like it. Hey y'all, just hanging out here with my pack. This is the youngest one, and this is Gypsy. She's about, oh, how old is she now? 9 weeks old now. And she's a pit bull. I'm going to do a genetic test on her. She might have a little bit of some other breed mixed in with the pit. And Dolce is the dominant female Cane Corso. She's about 3. And Ozzy is the alpha male. He's about 4 years old. And last, but definitely not least, because there's actually one more. So there's Lucia. And Lucia is currently chewing on, oh Lord, she's chewing on the hose nozzle thing. Gotta get that from her. She's 9 months old. She's going on 10 months actually pretty soon here, but she's my youngest female Cane Corso. So I got the 2 female Cane Corsos, the male, and then the one you're not seeing right now is Tux, and he's my pit bull mix. He's the oldest of the pack. He's very laid back. Lucia. Now Lucia is one of my heaviest chewers. She loves to chew. Now she doesn't usually, Lucia, no. She doesn't usually chew on things that she's not supposed to because I have a lot of toys and stuff around the house that she can chew on, and like rawhide things. So it's usually not an issue, but and also the other thing is that sometimes dogs, you know, when they chew on things in the house, like couches and things like that, I think a lot of times it's because they're trying to release pent-up energy. But it's really not an issue with my dogs because they have almost 2 acres out here fenced in that they can run, and they wrestle with each other. They get all of their energy out every day, so it's never really a problem. Yeah, see Ozzy, the alpha. He's correcting the puppy because she's way too excitable. And Dolce's correcting her too. Look at her, just throwing her body around, getting in his face. Dolce's following up with the correction. Look at her. Yeah, so the reason that the adult dogs are trying to teach Lucia, the puppy, not to be so energetic around them is because a high energy level like that in a pack can lead to escalation of energy in the other dogs and ultimately lead to a fight. And here's Tux. Tux is the one that you didn't see earlier if you're new to the pack. He's very submissive. And so those are my 2 males. And this is the reason that I can have 2 males in a pack with a dominant guardian breed like this. The reason I can have 2 males safely is because Tux is so submissive. I wouldn't risk it. I wouldn't introduce another male into my pack because I have a very dominant male. And but yeah, that's why it works. Her coat is so shiny. Dolce. But so yeah. So that was just a kind of a demonstration of how the pack will help to train the puppies. Now, Lucia will grow out of it. She'll learn. She's still very young, even though she looks extremely large. She looks like an adult, honestly. She's actually larger than Dolce, the adult female. So, yeah, she's larger than Dolce. So, Dolce was also very much like acting like Lucia's acting when Dolce was a puppy, and she grew out of it for the most part. She definitely doesn't do that face licking that Lucia was doing, you know, getting in the other dog's face and licking their muzzle. She doesn't do that. So she grew out of that. She learned after several corrections. Baby girl. Gypsy girl. Oh. See. Gypsy girl. Man, y'all, this puppy, if you've been following along with the channel, and along from day one when I first picked her up a couple weeks ago, you may notice how much bigger she's gotten already. She's actually starting to fill out. So the problem with her, when I first got her, she was extremely thin and very fragile looking. And some of that's because she was also very young. But I also had a similar pitbull American Bully puppy that I fostered named Tequila, and I got Tequila even at a younger age, and have since found her a really good home. But Tequila was a lot larger than her, more filled out at the same age, and some of that could just be because different rates of growth and everything. But what I'm trying to say is that she tested positive for hookworms at the vet. I mean, I took her to the vet the day I got her to get a checkup, and so I think a lot of her the thin, you know, structure that she had, and kind of just the frail look to her, some of that was probably because she was missing some nutrients from the hookworm. Hookworms can also make a dog anemic, which is dangerous. Not all worms do, but hookworms, you know, hence the name, they have this hook that hooks onto the intestinal lining, and they can also cause gastrointestinal bleeding because of that. But they because they hook into the lining, they don't just kind of like other worms will kind of attach without really hooking into the epithelial cells. The hookworm will cause anemia and bleeding, and so it's a worse than the other worms. But yeah, so she did test positive for that, and I've since treated her. I'm going to treat her again, actually. The vet prescribed this. It's called Panicure. It's a broad spectrum dewormer. But I also get some from Chewy that's similar, broad spectrum dewormer. It comes in a chew or liquid form. It's called Worm X, like the letter X. So I've got that ordered already. I'm going to give her another dose of that. And the other thing is that I do feed raw. I feed raw steak, dolce. And so, you know, it's USDA, so it's checked for parasites, but it's not fail-safe. So there's always going to be risk of parasites, even in USDA meat. And I've seen it, actually. I used to, when I first had Ozzy, I would feed him raw ground beef. And one time, this is so gross, he actually threw up a bunch of worms. And that's when I started to deworm him kind of once a month. And I stopped feeding raw ground beef because I hadn't frozen it prior to feeding it to him. And so now I feed raw beef shanks. Uh-oh. See the two males. Ozzy's sizing them up. Ozzy. He's just reminding him who's alpha. It's never an issue because Tux just walks away and then Ozzy lets it go. But Ozzy will give subtle reminders periodically. He's kind of corralling him. Yeah, so now I feed the raw beef shank. It's a really cheap cut of steak with a marrow bone in it. And I freeze it 48 hours before giving it to them. So that also helps to reduce any potential parasites. But again, it doesn't kill, freezing doesn't kill cysts, like cysticercosis, I think is one. Ready, sit, good girl, good, sit. Go get it. Ooh. Dolce claimed that one. Dolce is the more dominant female. Ah! Dolce. See how she gave the puppy a correction there? See, it's good the puppy has places to hide. But Dolce won't hurt her intentionally. The only worry for me with the big dogs around the puppy is an accidental, like accidentally stepping on them. But Dolce is actually very gentle with the puppy, and so is Lucia. That little growl sounded worse than it was. She didn't actually hurt her. I'm so happy that she's gaining weight. I'm really, really happy about that. But yeah, so that's why I do, even though I freeze the raw beef shank, I still do, I take this away from her, I still do deworm them. And that worm X, by the way, that I get, gosh, her eyes are so beautiful. That worm X that I get, it treats for tapeworms and hookworms and roundworms. And so it will also take care of heartworm, which is a roundworm. And so I don't do a separate heartworm medication. I just do the one shot kills all, because it includes treatment for heartworm. So, baby. Yeah, and you can get that online without a prescription. If you have puppies, it's a really good idea to treat them for worms. I mean, I'm not trying to give medical advice, of course, consult with your veterinarian, but I have found that most puppies, at least the ones I have had worm infestation, and usually, from the mother's milk. And so it's dangerous with the puppy because the worm will leach off vital nutrients. Gosh, she's so gorgeous. What I love about Lucia, she's only 9 months old. Look how broad her chest is. She is a huge puppy. I can't believe she's the size of a full-grown adult already. Bigger than a full-grown adult. And she's almost as tall as Ozzy. And Ozzy, the alpha male, Ozzy's extremely tall. He's one of the, on the tall end of the spectrum as Cane Corsos go. And she's already almost as tall as him, so it's unbelievable how big she is. So these are the two puppies, and, they're 9 months apart, but they do play with each other nicely. Ooh, gotcha, girl. Lucia. No, I don't want to give this to her because it's too sharp. In case they swallow one of these, it's going to be not good for their GI tract. Well, anyway, y'all, I just wanted to check in with everybody, say hi, let y'all know what's going on this end with the pack. Every day is a training day. They get training from their pack members. Puppies especially get training from the pack members. They learn bite inhibition. They learn, not to bite too hard. They learn respect for they learn to keep their energy level at a minimum in a pack. So, gosh, her eyes are so mesmerizing. Goodness gracious, you're a pretty girl. Lucia. The eyes are like a gray blue. Cane Corso, at least the blue ones, the gray coat, blue coat, they usually have blue eyes when they're puppies, and then as they mature into adulthood, the eyes will, by the breed standards, the eyes are around the same color as the coat, so they're like an icy gray. It's such gorgeous, gorgeous eyes. Lucia. Yeah, she's got a very broad chest, and her mother looks like a male. She's so big, so she's got that in her genetics as well. She really looks like the size of a male. Lucia, Dolce, Dolce girl. And Dolce has pretty amber eyes. Dolce girl. Be gentle. Be gentle. Okay, well, y'all, I'll let y'all go, and I will see y'all on the next one. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. I'll talk to y'all later.